is batting 1,000. There's an epidemic or pseudo-epidemic or reported epidemic, and I call Michael Fumento. Michael Fumento writes on Science. He's an investigative reporter, and because he's batting 1,000, I think he's worthy of hearing. He had a piece in the New York Post last week, correct? Was it the New York? Where was it, Michael Fumento? Where was your piece that we read?
It was the New York Post.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And you're writing another piece that I saw an early draft of. So, Michael, the latest news is that the Western world is closing down. They're stopping conventions. International meetings are coming to a halt. So, how do you react to all this?
Well, the progress of the disease hasn't surprised me a bit. But even I have been stunned by the progress of the hysteria. It is absolutely stunning. I mean, even here, I'm in the Philippines right now. We have had a grand total of 0 transmissions here. I'm not saying 0 deaths. I'm saying 0 transmissions from Filipino to Filipino. But you see, you walk to the malls and people have these masks on. You go to the bars. I went to the bar section this weekend for the first time in months. But anyway, there's nobody in the bars.
Oh my God! Oh, so another the panic has hit the panic has hit the Philippines, and you point out in the piece that you will be publishing, these things die in hot climates.
Almost as a rule. In fact, remember that SARS was going to kill us all, right? It ultimately killed about 800 people, and SARS itself died in July of that year. It simply it ceased to exist, and a lot of that had to do with the fact that these respiratory viruses, by these I mean SARS, I mean influenza, I mean cold, they simply don't thrive in hot and moist weather. So every single year, flu in the United States is gone by April or May. I know sometimes you hear people talk about, they'll give you an excuse. I couldn't come to work on August 1st because I had the flu. No Americans have the flu in the summer months. 0. And we're going to see that same thing with COVID.
So, by the way, it argues for a healthier world if it gets warmer.
Yeah, I thought about that. A case for global warming.
Yes, exactly. The benefits of global warming. By the way, there are huge benefits of global warming. There's more agriculture is possible. Yes.
No, you're right about that. But definitely, CO2 in the atmosphere is great for agriculture. No doubt about it.
It would seem that way. So I am shocked to learn that even in the Philippines, people are not congregating. It shows the power of media, which of course I've talked about all of my life, and it's a very scary power. Are there any voices? I don't watch. Are there any voices? I'm asking you, Michael, and I'm asking my producer. Are there any voices in the American media, or for that matter, Filipino media, that are saying, hold on, folks, maybe this is panic?
Well, actually, one day after my piece appeared in the New York Post, which is January 22nd, there was a piece in the Los Angeles Times and the Seattle paper saying, something along the same lines, don't panic. But I'm guessing probably both those papers have since walked back on it because, nobody likes to stand out. Nobody likes to be outside the herd, as it were, because the animals outside the herd, they perform a very valuable function. They find the food, they find the water, but they're the ones who also get picked off by the predators. And, during my over 30 years of writing about these things, I have lost jobs. I have lost, I've really, really been battered for being outside the herd.
Yeah.
And it hasn't done my career any good.
But you've been right. That the irony is you have been right. That's what's so painful.
It doesn't matter.
That's right. It doesn't matter.
On the other side, the people who are wrong each and every single epidemic are still the ones who appear on CNN and Anderson Cooper and MSNBC and all of them. It doesn't matter that they're wrong, and it doesn't matter that I was right.
So what do you regard this as being? Is this a variation on a flu? What do you think it is?
Genetically, it's more of a variation on, it's actually closer to colds, strangely enough. And it's definitely closer to SARS and the coronavirus. But what we really care about is not the genetics. It's really two things. It's how contagious is it, and the fatality rate. Now, the fatality rate we really don't know because we don't know how many true cases are out there. With both flu and with COVID-19, the vast majority of people have symptoms so slight that they don't ever go to a doctor.
That's right. This is so important for people to understand. There are many people right now walking around with the coronavirus who don't know it and will be fine. And they're not counted in the data.
And with the flu virus. With both of them. So we don't have a denominator. At best, we have a numerator. But you have to have a numerator and a denominator to come up with the percentage. So I've heard figures like 2% of people with COVID-19.
I know. That's
absolute nonsense.
Nonsense. And it includes all the China deaths where the health care is awful. Right.
You simply can't equate China to the United States or Canada or France. You can equate China to, maybe to North Korea. I suspect it's worse in North Korea, on a per person level than in China. I'm sure it is. North Korea is being socked. But we actually have no data coming out of North Korea because,
Well, anyway, in North Korea, so many people die prematurely that one wouldn't even know if it was the virus or simple North Korean starvation.
Right, you wouldn't even know. But here's some really interesting facts. I like to stick with the flu. Let's use the flu as a comparison. So far this year, according to CDC, a minimum of 18,000 Americans have died from the flu. That's this season. A minimum of 18,000, a maximum of around 60,000. How many Americans have died of COVID-19 so far? 2. Now, it's going to be more. More Americans are going to die. It's not going to be stick at 2. But more Americans are going to die of flu. In fact, 2 years ago, the CDC says 80,000 Americans died of flu. That was just 2 years ago. 80,000. And we're up against 2 COVID-19 deaths.
Yeah. It's painful, the panic. Anyway, there's going to be so much more damage to the economy than from the disease.